Hello there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. Welcome to a special episode. So it's winter season time and a lot of you are digging out your winter fragrances. And last year I did a list of 25 winter fragrances and so forth. So this time I thought, let's do winter fragrances, but let's do a specific type of fragrances. And in this particular video, I thought, let me talk to you about oud fragrances, because this is also a time where oud can be worn a little more easily. It can be worn a little more comfortably, because during colder times, the colder temperature, oud really works really well. Well, that is one element. But the second agenda of this particular video is also to introduce you to the type of oud fragrances, primarily fragrances that are easy to wear, fragrances that are more acceptable, more are widely acknowledgeable, more compliment getting, that kind of a type of fragrances. Because I do know that a lot of you or some of you would be very apprehensive towards wearing oud fragrances, because you have heard things like that they are skanky, they are barnyardish, people get repulsed by it and all of those things, right? While some of those things are definitely true, but in this particular video I have looked at 12 to 13 fragrances that are actually easier to wear. They have a more like I said, approachable situation, and it's more acceptable to wear these kind of fragrances, and you might definitely garner compliments. So keeping that thought in mind, let's get into this video and talk about budget friendly, easy wearing oud fragrances. Right, you're watching the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney. Let's get into this video right after this intro. Let's begin with one of the legendary or cult classic oud fragrances, and I'm talking about from the house of Armaf. This is called Niche Oud. Now, I have not actually featured this particular fragrance in any other video, because I have been wanting to get this for some time, and I've been having it for a few months. And you can look at the juice color. It's a pretty dark juice color on this particular one. Of course, the bottle also has got a dark brown tinge to it, but nonetheless, this is a fragrance that is considered as very, very good type of a oud fragrance to wear budget. Okay, now especially when you think about a budget friendly oud fragrance, this is really, really good. So this the scent profile on this one is, of course, it's got a sweet spicy element, it's got a woody element. The oud on this one is got a spice element to it, and it kind of feels like a little bit of a pan masala vibe type. That is something that you would also get with a lot of oud saffron type of a combination. Now this particular fragrance actually has got patchouli. It's also got a lot of spicy elements like that I mentioned to you, but the oud is very, very nice, very mellow, very slightly sweet, but at the same time kind of something that's very beautiful to wear, especially during winter season. Now all of the fragrances that we're going to talk to you about in this particular video are actually good performers, so you will get 4-5 hours of performance easy, going beyond some of them doing much longer than that. While this, in my opinion, has got a very spicy good accord to it, this one has also got a very good woody dry base to it, because it's got vanilla, it's got a little bit of a leather, it's got a little bit of iris as well. So overall, it's a very good fragrance which opens with a good amount of spice element and a very good ouds to wear for winters, because this will give you a performance of about 5-6 hours easily, and projects also pretty well. So if you're wearing for weddings, celebrations, festivals, you can easily kind of wear this. So we'll start with this. This is Armaf Niche Oud, one on this particular list. Next on this particular list is a fragrance that kind of, was one of those fragrances that I remembered this entire fragrance journey by. So a few years back, I smelled this particular fragrance for the first time in Shoppers Stop, and I got hooked by this particular fragrance. Now, this is the 24 Gold Oud Edition. Now, I from the time I've smelled this particular fragrance, it's always been on my mind, and I did get Lattafa Ragba, because that was supposed to be a clone of this particular fragrance, but I feel that has a slightly different nuance, but this has got a slightly different element to it. This is a fragrance that's got a lot of Oriental spicy elements like cinnamon, cardamom. It's also got a little of I think orange as well. So it opens with that. It's got a vanilla sweetness. It's got oud. It's got musk. So it's got a little bit of a sweet element to it, a little bit of a gourmand type of an element to it as well. But still a woody element which is with a lot of vanilla, and it's one of those fragrances for me. It absolutely smells divine, and it's a very widely accepted fragrance as well. So performance is also pretty good. You will get about 4-5 hours of performance easy, very comfortable. You can wear it for weddings easily. It's a very beautiful fragrance to consider. Performance is good. Like I said, the scent profile is good because of the vanilla note to it and a little bit of that Oriental spiciness. It's got that sweet texture to it. It's got a very good sandalwood dry down to it, along with the oud on that. Again, the oud is very woody, very mellow. In fact, I would say the oud on this is not a dominant one note at all. In fact, it is very very balanced with the sweet elements of vanilla and sandalwood, so it definitely easily can be pulled off. Okay, now if you want to get a sense of how this particular fragrance smells at a very low cost price, then you can also try getting this Wild Stones classic deodorant, this which is called Leather. Okay, now this one smells exactly like this in my opinion. I did put it on a few minutes back. The only difference is this wears off in a very quickly after about an hour or two. On your clothes this can remain for some time, but if you want a fragrance that smells very good quality, you can definitely consider getting 24 Gold Oud Edition. Next, let's talk about a fragrance that's from an Indian house. In this particular video you will find fragrances from Middle Eastern house, designer and Indian as well, but mostly at a budget friendly price point. So I'm talking about from the house of Scentrix, and I've been waiting for it. This is Exotic Fruity Oud. Now this is an alternate of the popular Maison Crevelis Oud Maracuja. Okay, and this is a wonderful fragrance for you to try, especially if you want to explore oud in a very different way, because this is a fragrance that actually has got passion fruit, it's got a lot of fruity elements, it's got a little bit of a rose, it's got a good amount of oud along with leather. Now whenever there is oud and that's mixed with leather, you kind of get a more slightly animalic vibe as well, because the leather brings a very sharp accord to it, where the woody oud on the particular fragrance can bring a dry woody element to it, right? Now because there is a passion fruit and fruity elements on it, there is a very different approach of a fresh type of a category of a fragrance, but this is not a fresh fragrance, but it's got that vibe of it. So very good performance, splendid, very powdery, very beautiful dry down, absolutely wonderful to wear during winters, and a very good alternate as well, I can tell you, considering this is from the house of Scentrix. The quality is very good, you can definitely consider this. The juice color is slightly greenish yellow, you could see, but overall the bottle is very, very good. The fragrance is top-notch quality, and you will absolutely enjoy if you are looking to get something along the lines of a fruity element, especially passion fruit, because it's got that tartness, and then the fruity elements also bring like the raspberry, that type of an element to it. Overall slightly sweet, but the woody dominant element of oud works out very well on this. Good performance again, and splendid to wear during winters and for weddings. Next on this particular list is a fragrance from a very popular Indian house, and I kind of like their fragrances a lot. I'm talking about the Hasan Oud, and this is called Velvet Oud. Now this is a fragrance that's got a bit of citrusy opening. It's got a lot of Indian spices like cardamom, like even cinnamon. You can think about star anise, that kind of thing. But I also kind of get a sense of truffle along with a bit of a rose on this particular fragrance to give you a wonderful dry down that's got like a chocolatey kind of a dry down, which is very, very good. Now the oud is not a very dominant element on this particular fragrance, so because of that sweetness of cinnamon, sweetness, the Indian spice sandalwood type of a sweetness that you kind of get, it smells absolutely wonderful. Now this is, in my opinion, a perfect fragrance that you can wear for weddings, especially for celebrations, because the way in which the rose note opens in this particular fragrance, the Turkish rose note that comes across, is very good. So if you're looking for something to wear for winters, something that's very classy, you can wear this. This is also a very good performer. It projects very well. It's got a nice dry down, powdery dry down that you can wear. The projection is about, I would say, 1.5 hours time. The performance easily about 5-6 hours. On your skin and apparels, it can go much, much longer. So very good fragrance. This is not a dupe of any fragrance in my opinion. This is more of a private label that they have. A very good inspiration, a creation from their idea of good Indian spices like allspices, sandalwood, and that kind of thing. Very low on the oud factor. Overall, a very good fragrance to consider thinking if you would like a very nice chocolatey truffle type of a vibe along with a little bit of a rose. So I think this is number 4 on this particular list. This is Velvet Oud from the house of Hasan Oud. Number 5 on this particular list is a fragrance from the house of Scentrix, and Scentrix has a version of MFK's Oud. Now MFK's Maison Francis Cardigens, there is Oud Satin Mood, there is Oud, and there is Velvet Oud and all of that, but there is one standalone, or there is even a satin Oud as well, but there is also a standalone Oud fragrance that you should definitely consider, which is this from the house of Scentrix. This is a fragrance that for me feels like has been done as a class apart fragrance on its own, because of course I'm a big fan of MFK's fragrances, but this one especially has got oud, it's got elemi, it's got a little bit of that Middle East decent type of a slight vibe, but then it's also got, it makes you feel like it gives you a rose, spicy, slight sweet, that kind of a vibe, which is very, very nice to it. Because generally either you get a rose combo kind of a vibe, but this is not the case. Here the woody vibe along with the elemi, and it gives you a pan masala type of a vibe, but a more spicier, sharper vibe. So you can think about it as spicy, woody, that kind of a balsamic type of a vibe as well, because it's got that little bit of that vinegary vibe as well. Now also to support this particular fragrance, there is saffron, there is elemi as well, and there is patchouli as well. So this is green vibe of patchouli and the saffron that comes together to give you that spice element. It's not overly sweet at all. It's, in fact, I wouldn't say that it's sweet type of a fragrance, but because there is saffron, always there is going to be slight sweetness, but because there is patchouli, there's also a good amount of spicy element to it. And of course the oud comes holds all of these together. Absolutely fantastic, very good performance in case you're looking for a very nice spicy oud type of a fragrance, not overly sweet. Then you should definitely consider getting MFK's Oud alternate from the house of Scentrix. Good performance, 5-6 hours of performance, projects really well as well. Next, let's talk about Oud fragrance, which is a very good fragrance in a budget lineup. When you think about if you're spending less than 1500 or so, you should definitely consider getting Maison Alhambra's Oudi Oud. Okay, now this is fantastic. If you are not aware, this is an alternate of Tom Ford's Oud Oud. Now this is a fragrance that's actually all out oud, but in the best possible way, where you can probably say, in my opinion, one of the most easiest fragrances to wear, and you can absolutely get compliments for it, because this is a fragrance that opens with oud. It's got oud in the dry down, it's got sandalwood, it's got a lot of good peppery elements to it. It's also got a little bit of powdery elements to it. So overall it smells very nice. It's got a little bit of a pink pepper sweetness in the opening. It's got a powdery nature to it. It's got a lot of woody vibes to it. Overall it kind of remains a very linear kind of a fragrance, which starts with wood, oud and peppery elements and still continues to be with oud. So very, very beautiful, and not at all sweet, not at all spicy, just powdery type of a fragrance. Absolutely easy to wear, and definitely one of those fragrances that can get you compliments. Now you should wear this for I would say date nights, for parties, for good gatherings. The only thing about this is this probably might perform about 3.5-4 hours time. On your apparels it might do a little bit more, but it doesn't have that strong Middle Eastern type of a oud to it. It has got more of a designer French type of a oud element to it, so which is more of a powdery vanilla type of a vibe that you get, right? It's not sweet in my opinion, but it's got a slight hint of sweetness because of the woody elements. Overall very classy to wear, very beautiful to wear, especially for a tux or something like that. You can wear this easily. This is Woody Oud from the house of Maison Alhambra. Along the lines of powdery elements, when we talk about, there's a beautiful fragrance that we should talk about, which is from the house of Maham, called as the Conqueror. Okay, now this is a fragrance that's basically an alternate of the Alexandria 2 from the house of Zerjov, which is basically a fragrance that's got a good amount of woody vibes to it, a bit of floral hints to it, but then the way this particular fragrance works is absolutely creamy kind of a texture. You kind of get a very powdery type of a vibe from the way it kind of opens to the way it kind of lasts throughout. It's got lily of the valley, it's got a bit of rose element as well, but then it also brings the oud in a very, very beautiful, finesse, classy, smooth, buttery cream type of a vibe. Now the opening of this particular fragrance has actually got lavender, it's got fruity notes like apple, but the dominant note is because of a sandalwood wood note and a rosewood note. Okay, now the rosewood along with the oud here works very, very well, so that's why you get a very powdery vibe to it. That's why there is also lavender on this particular fragrance as well. So if you're looking to wear a beautiful powdery, slightly sweet vanilla type of a fragrance with a good amount of woody elements like rosewood to give you that slight rose type of a vibe, along with a little bit of floral hints, long lasting fragrance, 6 to 8 hours lasting fragrance, classy fragrance for winters, for celebrations, anything like that, you should definitely get this. This is a beautiful rendition of the Alexandria Zerjov, Alexandria 2 fragrance. Very beautifully done, and if you're looking for a very beautiful powdery woody type of fragrance, Tom Ford's Oud is one of them. But this has got a little more depth to it, it's got a little more soul to it, because it has got rosewood, it's got a little bit of a floral element, it's got lavender and all of that. Overall very classy, beautiful one to try from the house of Almam called the Conqueror. One of these fragrances came out quite recently, and I did try the sample of it the last time that I got the bottles, and then I was blown away. So I got this. This is from the house of Balsaq. This is called Oriental Peace. Now this is a fragrance that actually is got a bit of a rose going for it, a bit of oud going for it, but then it's also got this incensey vibe to it, right? So if you have thought about incense sticks which have got a rose dominant nature, then you can think about the oud attached to it. It's absolutely wonderful. This is a fragrance that's got a little bit of an inspiration, I would say, from Rose Ishwan from the house of Christian Dior, but then it is absolutely wonderful in which the way the rose, the incense comes together, fantastic. There's a lot of warm spices in it like geranium, all of that as well to give you that spice element to it. It's got a bit of a sweetness coming from the rose, but then it's the rose incense vibe that gives it absolutely a fantastic touch. Very powdery, very woody in the note. The oud is very mellow, but it's got a good amount of dry down that you get, which is a very woody type of a vibe. This also has got a lot of ambery elements to it, a little bit of a patchouli, and in this particular fragrance the oud is at the top and at the bottom. So but then the oud is more like a woody nature, like I said, so because of which it smells absolutely good. This has got a very strong projection, so you have to go light on the number of sprays that you would want to with this. The performance is fantastic. You get 6 to 8 hours easily. Absolutely beautiful, especially if you like a rose oud combo. But then think about the rose is more sharper, more sweeter, more incensey, and then a little bit of a spice elements that to support along with this. Fantastic fragrance to consider from an Indian house, from the house of Balsaq. This is Oriental Peace. Now to talk about oud fragrance, for me has to be one of the best fragrances. This will remain as a cult classic fragrances in the dupes line or from the Middle Eastern lines. I'm talking about from the house of Lattafa. This is the Qaeed. Now this could be a fragrance that might be something that you would absolutely enjoy wearing because of the colder spices that are there in this. The cardamom, the saffron, the elaichi, the whole nature of the woody elements in this, absolutely wonderful. It's a very sweet kind of a fragrance, very loud, pretty sharp in its scent profile as well. Overall fantastic. This was one of those fragrances, I think, for me which introduced this as a oud fragrance. Probably I think this was the first fragrance that I bought as a oud fragrance. Now the fragrance in this is, the oud is not the most I would say animalic or anything like that. It is in fact a lot sweeter because of a lot of the sweeter spices that are there on this particular fragrance. Right from the top you have saffron, you have cardamom, and then you have the oud. So this is more like a cardamom heavy kind of a fragrance that you would want to wear, especially very beautiful during the winters. And the oud on this is a little bit like a rubber type, sharp type of a metallic type of a oud in this, which is a little bit like the one that you get in Badi Al Oud for Greatness, right? So the oud is like that, which is very sharp. It's not a dry, it's not a powdery, it's not a woody type of a oud, but more of a oriental sweet kind of a oud that you must absolutely try. I would always say that you can buy this particular fragrance. This is easy to wear, but definitely do try a whole range of decants if possible to try for these particular fragrances, then go for it. This has of course got leather as well, so like that sharp opening is what I was talking about, comes from that. It's also got amber, it's also got a lot of vanilla going for it. But if you categorically say this is more of a cardamom heavy or saffron heavy woody type of a fragrance with a very sharp, beautiful performance on your clothes, this will be there for the next day as well. So lasts really good, long lasting fragrance, amazing projection, beautiful fragrance to wear for winters, especially for celebrations, weddings, parties, some festivities. You can easily wear this. This is Qaeed from the house of Lattafa. Alright, so number 10 on this particular list is a fragrance from the house of Prestige Arabiyat. This is called as Hypnotic Oud. Now this is an alternate of a fragrance from the house of Maison Margiela called By the Fireplace. Now that's a very warm, comforting type of a scent, and this is pretty much exactly the same. So this is a fragrance that actually opens with clove and it opens with a lot of pink pepper, but then this has got a note of chestnut. Now chestnut is actually very nice. You can get it in Asian countries, it's easily available. It has got a very nice woody, nutty kind of element to it. Think about nuts like macadamia, or if you have hazelnut. When you've eaten any of these chocolate bars that have got a nutty element to it, how you find that nutty taste, that's pretty much the type of nutty vibe that you get from chestnut. Also, along with clove, which has got that clove oil kind of vibe to it, with that, when you bring the oud, it's a very comforting type of a scent, which has got also, this particular fragrance has got vanilla to it as well. And then there is a balsamic vibe to it, which is a Peru balsam that is there, which has got a smoky resinous type of a vibe. So there's a little bit of a smoky element that comes into this particular fragrance to give you a very barbecue campfire type of a vibe. So that is generally the vibe that this particular fragrance goes, which is the imagination should be of you burning marshmallow over a campfire and enjoying that smoky, woody, nutty kind of a vibe. That's pretty much what this particular fragrance goes for. Now the oud on this particular fragrance, I would say, is very low. It's sweet, it's vanilla, it's lightly sweeter, not very super sweet like 9 p.m. Like that, not like that, but slightly a nutty type of a vibe. Very beautiful, slightly smoky vibe as well that you kind of get. Overall, I would say this is a very beautiful fragrance to try in case you haven't. The Oriental clove that you have, and along with the chestnut, this is a very comforting fragrance. If you want to just enjoy your holidays during winter, you want to sit back, watch a movie, you want to spend time with your family, you want to wear a fragrance that's inviting all of them, and at the same time it's very comforting, right? So this is one of those fragrances, definitely. Hypnotic Oud from the house of Arabiyat. Not a very long-lasting fragrance per se, 4-5 hours is what I would say, and not a very deeply projecting fragrance. It's a soft kind of a fragrance, but works fantastic for this particular season. So this is Hypnotic Oud. Continuing with soft fragrances, one of the beautiful fragrances to wear during this point of time is also this, which is Happy Oud from the house of Zimaya, which is an alternate of Initio's Oud for Greatness. Oud for Happiness. So I always get confused with that name, but nonetheless, this is a very, very beautiful fragrance. While Oud for Greatness has got a lot of Oriental spicy elements like sweetness of saffron and all of that, this particular fragrance has got more of tobacco, it's got more of leather, but then the oud is a little similar to how Oud of Greatness type of a oud, that rubbery vibe, that woody vibe to it, a little bit of that saffron vibe, that is similar in this as well. This also smells very nice. It's got a spicy opening like that of how you have the oud in general, like the MFK's oud that you saw, that has got that spicy opening because of patchouli. So this is also the case in this. So because this has got patchouli, amber, tobacco, so there is a little bit of spice element that you get, but overall smells absolutely beautiful. This is a no harm type of a fragrance for me, because I felt that if you wear this, you are not going to annoy anybody in any way. While this is not a very loud projecting type of fragrance, slightly softer in its scent profile, 1.5 feet at maximum, but the signature smell is very beautiful. If you're looking to wear for something for parties that you want to smell good but not be obnoxiously loud, you can consider wearing this. For winters, absolutely beautiful fragrance to try. So if you like Oud for Greatness, you are more likely to like Oud for Happiness as well, because it has got slight vibe for me like Oud Maracuja, where there is a fruity type of vibe, but here there's a spicy type of a vibe along with vanilla, along with that tobacco, makes it for a fantastic fragrance for this particular season. So this is Happy Oud from Zimaya. Right, next two fragrances before we go to the best fragrance of oud when you think about oud fragrances. We'll talk about two honorable mentions that I thought I should talk to you about. One is from the house of Follow Me Fragrances. This is called Dior Rose Oud. So this is for me one of a nice fragrances where there's the good amount of rose, there's a good amount of woody vibe, loud. The oud is also very, very nice on this particular one. Very beautiful fragrance, especially for winters, that you can definitely wear. This is, I also thought of, I'll pick up Blue Oud alternate from their house, but Blue Oud, which is in the lines of Ombre Nomade, is more, it needs a little bit of a more, wearing, in the sense to say you need to like that particular fragrance, but Dear Rose Oud is more approachable, so I thought let's consider this. That is one, that's an honorable mention. Another beautiful honorable mention from the house of Ahmed Al-Maghrabi would be Blue Oud. Now, because Blue Oud here has got a more of a sandalwood type of a vibe, it's got a good amount of sweetness. There is wood, but it's also more sandalwood oriented, cardamom oriented, sweetness oriented type of fragrance. I thought this is a good option to wear. It's got more of a woody, sandalwood, woody type of a vibe. So the oud is very less on it, so it's more easily wearable. And for this particular season, it's fantastic and very budget-friendly fragrance as well. So you can consider this as well. So this is also an honorable mention, right? So with that, let's move to one of the best fragrances that you can wear for this particular season. This will tick your party fragrances. This will tick your celebrations, this will tick your festivities. This will stick as a fragrance as one of the best investments that you can make in fragrances, and I am talking about from the house of Ahmad Al-Maghrabi. This is Bin Sheikh. Now Bin Sheikh for me is that particular fragrance that you can simply buy it, you can wear it, and it ticks all of the boxes, because this is a fragrance that opens with oud, it's got saffron, it's got sugar, it's got oud, it's got floral vibes, it's got woody vibes, everything happening. And it smells very, very classy, because I've mentioned this in the videos as well, that this is a fragrance which is under maybe 4,000-5,000 rupees, but it smells like a fragrance that's 30,000-40,000 rupees. That kind of a quality is what you get, because there is a kind of a sugary vibe to it, this particular fragrance. There's a sugar note to it, there's a saffron note to it, oud note to it. Primarily it can be said as a oud rose combo, but with a lot more complex and a lot more depth into it. A classy fragrance that's got crazy projection, lasts absolutely wonderful, and this is a no-brainer type of a fragrance. You will absolutely get compliments for this particular fragrance. You can, like I said, wear it for all occasions. It can be your once investment in a beautiful oud fragrance that will last really, really long. Fantastic packaging material that you get with this, very good one. Projection of the fragrance also is very good. From a scent profile note, I would say that this is sweet, woody, slightly floral, rose hint, woody type of a fragrance, where the oud is there, but along with the oud, because there is a lot of the other elements that are there in this fragrance, which are again sweet hints, that give it a good amount of depth. And if I were to say, easily one of the best oud fragrances that you can wear. In fact, one of the best fragrances from the house of Ahmad Al-Maghrabi. So this would complete my 12 fragrances plus two honorable mention, and the number one fragrance in this particular list is going to be Bin Sheikh from the house of Ahmad Al-Maghrabi. Okay, so if you like this kind of a video, do hit the like button, subscribe and share, because I can bring next maybe powdery fragrances, maybe leather fragrances, or just plain winter fragrances as well, right? So I will see you on another video. Until another time, take care. Bye bye.